Oh, awesome! A new Lord of the Rings game. I guess the developers must be huge fans of Tolkien, and since they chose this particular IP, they're going to be faithful to the source material. I mean, why else would you spend money to purchase an IP unless you actually like the fans and you want to give the fans something that they love? So let's see what this game is about. Wait, why did they race swap the Hobbit? Okay, I see. I see. That's why they did it. That's why they race swapped the Hobbits. Now, this particular video has 7 million views. And I would like to know what people think about it, but unfortunately, the comments have disabilities. We are promoting fascismus, where the people need to sit down and shut the fuck up. Like, no free speech here. We do not care about your input whatsoever. Like, we, the developers, we want you to buy our product, but we will also put our fingers in our ear and go la 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 la. We don't care what you have to say, la 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 la. People don't like this game. There's many reasons for it. The race swapping is like one of it, but like it's essential to American imperialism. Like America cannot just look at another country and take something from their folklore without using the imperialist method. You know, it's like back in the old days when the Crusaders wanted to Christianize the whole world. Well, America wants to wokeify the whole world. Like they cannot just take a story and keep it to the source material. Like you gotta change it. You gotta BlackRock it. Now, I think the main reason that people are upset about it is that, first of all, this is not in a vacuum, right? Like this is not just an individual game that just came out and they have an interesting twist on Lord of the Rings. This is just like another straw on the camel's back. There's a lot of people that believe that the German U-Ball movie producer is now everywhere. So for those of you who don't know, U-Ball would take video games that were popular and would make them into the worst shitty movies imaginable because the German government would pay him if the movies were unsuccessful. So like there was this initiative from the German government to promote German art and culture. So like if you were to make a movie and you abided by certain criteria and the movie didn't give you the returns, then the German government would give you a payoff. So this is what U-Ball was doing. Like he was generating shit knowing that it's going to be shit. And it's pretty similar what's happening now. Like you have all of these people that are getting big IPs in order to get the attention of investors. And they are making them not for the customer, but they're making them for the investors so that they can get some of that ESG fund, some of that money. In some cases, like Dustborn, they want to get the government grants from Norway, from the European Union, right? Like they generally do not care about the customer anymore, which is why the customer gets to have disabilities because they literally do not give a fuck, right? Like you are not their target audience. You do not matter. If they manage to sell their game, that's great. But if they don't sell the game, they still make money. And by they, it's usually the people at the top. Because if the game ends up being forspoken or concorded into oblivion, then the developers have to look forward for unemployment. Now, the thing that I have with the game is the fact that it doesn't maintain the soul of Lord of the Rings, right? Like, it's Lord of the Rings in name only. And you get to see, like, a lot of video games that are like this, that are adaptations based on various IPs. And, like, it's fine if you have your own take on the universe or if you try something different, but you should still at least try and maintain the soul of it. But when you have developers that are sporting that California look, that Portland culture-esque identity, they cannot maintain the soul of Lord of the Rings. And for a while, I was wondering why. Like I just couldn't articulate it, because deep inside, I knew the problem, but I just couldn't put it into words. And one day, YouTube actually suggested a video from me. The YouTube algorithm actually did what was intended to do. And it served me a video that I wanted to see, and it was called The Pussification of Games. You know, and such a clickbait title, like, how can you not engage with it? It's a video that actually got quite a significant number of views, and it's going around the internet. And the content creator is taking the box art from games before 2016 and their promotional material, and is comparing them with video games that are coming out now and their promotional material. And the promotional material of video games that are coming out now is pretty much like this, right? Like everything is happy, everything is awesome, power of friendship. We love hobbits. We adore this. We're all friendly. Or you have your games like Dustborn where it's all about feelings. Look how these people feel. Look how marginalization make other people feel. How does society make people feel? Like, let's talk about feelings. And these are the games that are now, and they're not selling very well. Meanwhile, the games that were before 2016, it was like, danger, men in the shadows, the world is about to be destroyed. Can you be the one to save it? This evil but very sexy and alluring dark elf lady is trying to destroy Faerun. Can you be the one that fixes her and turns her into a loving housewife, young adventurer? I'm not kidding, that's actually the plot of the video game Nox, where you have like this evil necromancer lady that's really hot, and if you play as a wizard, you actually get to marry her. Yeah, they don't make games like they used to. In fact, I'm glad they don't read books, because if they read Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare, they would be like, oh, this is field, it is oozing with misogyny. It's such an awful, awful work of fiction. But anyway, looking at this game, you notice the same pattern, right? Like, what is Lord of the Rings about? Well, Lord of the Rings is a battle for survival. The fate of the Middle-earth is in danger because those evil orcs are coming. And only Frodo and his fellowship can try to save the world, right? Like, it's a story that's about heroism. It's conflict. It's war. Meanwhile, what do we get here? We get hobbits relaxing in Hobbit Town. Now, don't get me wrong, like, you can do this, but, like, why, though? Just make a different setting at this point. Like, you're not following the soul and the spirit of the original story. Now, if you want a building game in this universe, and you want to stay true to the actual heart of the story, you could play as Sauron, and you have to tear down the forest in order to fuel the fires of the industry. But you gotta be careful on how you do it, because if you don't do it properly, then the Ents rise up. And if the Ents rise up, then you have to train your orc armies in order to stop them, and you have, like, spiders coming from the forest and other stuff, right? Like, you can still make a game that's about a city builder and a city planner while still maintaining the actual heart of the story. But of course you can't race swap anything, because, like, well, you can race swap Sauron, but that would be racist. I mean, having a villain as a black person, Jesus Christ. Only Caucasians get to be villains. By the way, speaking of which, is there any story that came out after 2016 where a person that looks like this is a villain? Like a person that's kind, compassionate, oozing with empathy, has problem glasses, but is actually really evil. Kind of like the Harry Potter. I think like Harry Potter is actually the only work of fiction which has the evil HR lady as a villain. It's interesting, right? Because the author wanted Snape to be the professor that most readers dislike, but in reality, a lot of people like Snape, and the professor that they don't like and they dislike the most, even worse than Voldemort, I would say, is that elderly lady with the pink sweater that appears nice on the surface, but in reality is torturing Harry and his friends. Yeah, I think, like, literally Harry Potter is the only work of fiction that I've ever read which has a villain that looks like this, you know, with glasses, and it is quite harmless, and they're pretending to be nice, but they're actually the bad guy of the story. I don't know if this game is going to do well. I guarantee to you, though, if they would have taken my idea, and it would have been about you playing as Sauron, and you have to build the army, and, you know, you succeed if you build a strong enough army in order to take over Helm's Deep, and you fail if you don't build it in time, or if you rush it too fast and you awaken the Ents. I think that game would have actually sold a lot more than this. But given the overwhelming negative reception that it has, I don't think it's going to sell very well. And it's probably like the type of game that people who are interested in Lord of the Rings would be interested in this game, while people who are interested in these types of games, which are like city builders games that look pretty, will probably be interested in the game. Which begs the question, why even use the Lord of the Rings IP then? Like this has nothing about Lord of the Rings besides the fact that hobbits and Hobbitown, right? And even the hobbits are reinvented, they're reimagined. So yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just like, again, another straw that breaks the camel back. It's like another shovelware game that is corporatized, sanitized, and they just leech off an IP without actually maintaining the soul, the spirit, and the essence of what made that IP great. So let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.